Okay, let me just show you a couple more real quick and we're gonna actually step into a project. I'm just trying to do this faster with more ease. I already know I have one set up for websitemarketingsolutions.com. So let's import the web page. But what do I want? Let's say I want the whole video page off of there, one of the videos. So it could be like this. I'll show you. Video training. Let's say that. And this is a healthy long page. Tons here. Again, so much that we wouldn't want to var all this stuff out. It's just really a big page. But just to show you, here we go. Let's copy, take it down, paste it in, hit the home button so that we can get rid of the http:// any www dot. Universal fixes already set up for websitemarketingsolutions.com. Replace. Okay. Save as HTML and see how it looks. Okay. We'll just see. All right. That's pretty much it. I guess I could allow block content. And again, it's pretty much all there. All right. Everything's there. Everything's there. It all works. You can click through to it. The videos would play, all that stuff. And so all my pages are completely set. Everything is done with that. Let's try another one. Again, open this thing. Let's just do another one. Import web page, MOWG-Crew.com. There we go, except that really I should have gotten rid of this first. Delete, because I don't even think it's that big. Got to make sure to start with a clean slate. All right, and then for universal fixes, add edit, MOWG-Crew.com. Hit the update. I always click off of that bottom cell and then hit update. Just good thing to know. All right, so let's try that again. There we go. All right, and so all of this is here, and the videos they'll play if I hit allow or hit allow block content. Block content, of course, is the stuff coming in from third-party sites, right? It's all there. It looks right. That's what I expect. Let's try another one. MOWG Crew. Let's go back to our MOWG affiliate because that's what we're going to use anyway for our next example. Cells left. So we're going to import MOWG-affiliate. This is kind of where we started, right? And universal fixes, add edit, MOWG affiliate. All I need to do is change that. Click off, update. Now do it. And now I can save that. Should be fine. Yep, that's it. Whether I allow block content, I don't know. Yeah, there it is. It's all here and it's all ready. So we're going to continue with exactly this model. What do we do now? That's what we're going to step into. Okay, let's start with this. There are four parts to a web page that have wording that you care about. So if I just bring up the initial web page here, let me just view source, and that way I can show you easily because it's all color coded in this view. There's the title tag. That's very important. That is the part that shows up first and foremost when you go to Google and you do a search of just about any kind. And let me get over to Google or anywhere else, but it doesn't matter. Google, Bing, Yahoo all work the same way. Whatever, Empower Network. Okay, all of these things you see here that we've been opening, these things that are generally in blue, are page titles almost always. For instance, if I click on this, see how it says Empower Network, Make Money Online, Viral Blogging Review. If I click on it, that is this thing up here, Empower Network, Make Money Online, Viral Blogging Review. That's what's said in the page title. View source, page title, that is it. That's why that's important and you care about that. And when you create thousands of web pages, you want these words to change a lot. You don't want all your web pages to have the same page title. That's one thing that keeps Google from being able to show variation. And without being able to show variation, it doesn't have a good reason to put up different web pages. So we like variability in our titles. This down here is usually from the meta tag description. And so if I click on here again, I guess I should have just kept it open. And I view the source. Then take a look at this. Somewhere in here, there should be a meta tag description. And look what it says. Meta tag description, read the Empower Network review about a unique viral blogging system, dot, 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 dot. That should be that black text that you see on Google, and usually it will be. Okay. Yeah, read this Empower Network review. Okay, and if it doesn't, it's just choosing it from somewhere else on the page because it doesn't have to use the meta tag description, but often it will. So the meta tag description is important, and also you want this varied. Even if your titles don't vary that much, Google can accept titles being the same or similar. In other words, if you only had 50 variations of this, Google's fine with that as long as you have like 1,000 variations of this or 500, whatever, so that they mix and match in different ways, but you wind up with pages that use different keyword combinations for the title and different keyword combinations for the description. Then for keywords, this doesn't matter as much on Google, but it matters more on Bing and it matters more on Yahoo usually. It is an element. It's important at least for having the keywords on the page. It winds up getting counted. So it's good to deal with that as well. That's three: your title tag, meta description tag, meta keywords tag, where keywords is the least important of them. And then finally, there's your body. Okay, and your body is just all the wording in your body. Okay, so those are the 4 points of interest, and that's what we're most interested in when we do this job. We want that to come out. So for that reason, with Code to Vars, we created the breakage points just that way. This first tag ends with the beginning of the title. It ends right there, and the words for the title show up. This way we can manipulate our page title right up to the end of the title. And then it continues with the coding until it hits the next piece, meta name description content equals, and look at that, it stops right after the double quotes for content equals. So this is the meta tag for the description, the meta description tag, and sure enough, all of this to the end of that bit of coding, wherever it is, right there, is that meta tag description. Okay, so you can deal with your meta tag description. Now what do we have? Meta name equal keywords, content equals, and again, what's that tell you? That tells you that this which follows is the meta tag keywords, because that's what that's all about. Meta tag keywords, and that goes until the end, right here. Okay. Now you can clear this stuff up however you want. You can be careful. Like for instance, to dig at the double quotes at the end of the word, if you want to use different variations, you could get the double quotes out of your way. Like if I run the thesaurus on this, I don't think it can come up with any versions because of the double quotes. But if I put the double quotes here instead, okay, and I may as well put a space, that should be good. Then I can get rid of it here. And what do I have? MOWG experts, and I can work with it here, and that's perfectly fine. And so that's good. Now, by the way, do we need to change our page anymore? No, because we got the coding we want. We're going to overwrite this thing with the next version of our page. And that's going to come based on what we do. So we're on to the next thing. Okay? And then it continues until it hits the body tag, where it starts saying in the body what it is that we're going to do inside the body. So somewhere in here is the regular body tag. Oh, here it is, body. And it starts to explain what's going on. And then it gets to the point where finally there's verbiage. Okay? And that starts with the word attention, which we know from the web page, right? Attention. That's the first word on the page. And we continue from there. Okay, so it's verbiage all the way through to the very, very, very end, really, when it just closes with the final coding chunks. Okay, and again, this is the last one because there's nothing here. Where does it show up? You know, wherever it shows up in the block, but it's going to be probably here. And if we open that up, you know, we see it does go all the way to the end of the page. So we're good to go. because a page always ends with something like this. Maybe there's some final comments, maybe not, but it's got that closing HTML tag in it. Okay, so it's all there. So what could we do with this thing? We could go ahead and run our thesaurus on the entire line. Wham! And this gives us a good starting point. It does a lot of work for us, except that, as we know, there's no actual literary logic brought into this. This created all these variables, and again, we got to watch out for characters like that, so we can do this with the replace editor. Okay, and it really is getting a lot of our work done, except that, of course, this thesaurus doesn't understand English. It's not trying to deal with the English correctly. So we would have to go through all of the combinations manually, drop what we want, keep what we want, add what we want, all the way through the page, and normally this takes about 2 hours. I'm going to show you an incredible shortcut that we built into the MOWG Toolbar 17, which has to do with these, okay, that you can get into, and this is going to save you a lot of trouble. But before I do that, let me save this project because I do want to show you one other thing that can trip you up. A different project that a guy sent me at one point, and when I looked at it, I thought, aha, I see what your problem is in this case. And here's what happened here. He had his own project, and it was this particular file. If you right click and hit edit, here's what. Now the toolbar breaks where it sees content equals so that you can type in whatever should go in here in between these things, right? That's the idea, except that there are a lot of content equal tags in this case. There's all of these, none of them have to do with keywords and description. The ones that do have to do with keywords and description are down here. There's a content equals and it opens until it closes. And then there's the meta tag description, and it also opens until it closes, which is down here. Okay, and so what's the problem we're going to have? That the toolbar is going to trip over all of these content equal tags, right? And let me just show you what I mean. If I select all and copy it, and go into my project and double click, get in there, paste, all right, and I accept that, and then I run the code to vars. Okay. See what it did? It busted up chunks of the coding because it got it in the wrong spot. Content equals, it said, but then came all this stuff here until the end, and it shouldn't have done that. Now, if this bothers us, just because we want to make sure to keep this intact, it's coding really, we want to keep it intact. How do we deal with that? Here's the answer. On the page, simply do this. Wherever it says content equals double quotes, and this is a technical hurdle right now, we don't have a fix for this, just do this. Make them capital C's. It's okay because it's still acceptable for browsers. It's not going to change anything. But as far as the page goes, then we only have our regular content equals without the capital C. Okay? And the toolbar allows for that variation, which is just awesome because that's what we needed. And I'll just show you real quick. And this is just so you don't get caught up over an issue like that. Here it is. Select all, copy, double click in one of these cells, paste, hit OK. And now when I do code to vars, it's got it. It's all correct. Here is where the title begins until the end of title. Okay? So it's straight. So that's all I really had to do. Do I need to change that back later? No, don't need to. I could, I just don't need to because it's not going to affect a browser's way of viewing that tag. A browser could care less whether it's a capital C or a small c. It understands it either way. So there you go. That's one of those fix issues, right, that can come up that people have asked about. And so it's just good to know. All right, now with that said and done, let's get back to our own project and continue what we're doing with that. So I have all of these variations, and I could go through them by hand, and it would take quite a while. This is the normal common article spinner kind of work where you have to figure out all the wording combinations that work here in context with more wording all the way around. TFAN Online Marketing Solutions, TFAN Connected on, again, you can do this. Highlight the whole thing, go like this, and you can work with it that way. Might be a bit weird to read it. You don't have to do it. If you want to bring an individual column back in size, highlight the column, right click, hit column width, and then just give it a smaller width, like 80. Okay? And that just makes it easier for you to see around. And again, we are actually going to do this a much faster way than this. I'm just showing you this because it's important to know, the basics so you can see what to do from there. Online marketing solutions, connected TFAN, connected marketing solution, that could be fine. On doesn't make sense. Working, available, accessible, wired, virtual, real-time, on-screen, electronic, on-screen. Maybe not the on-screens. Electronic marketing solutions, on-screen, live marketing solutions, electronically. And then I could do what? Format sheet and drop. There you go. Also, what else can we do? Just to show you basic things. There's format sheet allows us lowercase, propercase, uppercase, first uppercase, clean cells, remove extra spaces, which we talked about earlier. These other guys, that's good for things like this. I just want to highlight either the whole column or just that batch. You don't even have to be exact. And you can hit format sheet, all lowercase, and it just went all lowercase. I could also do all uppercase, and that's if I want to do that. And that would be all uppercase, or I could just do all proper case, okay? And there you go, or first uppercase. And that's good if there's a reason you need the capitalized version and then the small version. Again, maybe over here I need the small version and I don't want it to be capitalized. I could just do that, There you have it. And in this case, I'm just going to go with all proper case again, okay? And if I really need to, because I did this already, I could just paste right over the top of here. Okay? And there you go. That matches them both up. So you can do that kind of thing. And you just continue on through. So when we're done, and let's assume we did all the wording combinations that we want, okay? And I'm not even going to resize these, it would take forever. What do you do from there? Because I have all this stuff done, and I could create the basic web page I need for this. So what would I do? I would say I'm done with all the wording combinations I want, and so I need to generate a header for this project. The header allows me to match all these variables with the actual web page, and that's what we're going to talk about here. So if I create the header, it created two lines at the top, these two rows right here. The first row has something called tokens. Tokens is actually a rather common usage. You use them in Google AdWords, you use them in other places. Tokens say it's a placeholder that belongs to this column on the sheet. This belongs to that. The var3 token belongs to the var3 header. So if we put the token on our web page and we use software to generate pages, then it will look wherever the token is, it will look for that var header. Even if this happens 50 times on the page, it doesn't matter. It will always reference that because it's using the same internal information, var3. And so it will reference this on the CSV sheet that we're going to create, and it will plug in any one of these words as though randomly. It's actually different than that, but you may as well assume that's it. For var4, wherever it appears on the web page, every time it generates yet another page, it will choose randomly from these words because this is var4. That's why you can only have one var3 on the CSV file, one var4 on the CSV file, but this you can have 50 times on the index page, that you can have 25 times. It doesn't matter at all. This is going to be on the page, and this is what I mean. If I copy this entire line, that's the entire web page with all the tokens where they belong, wherever there's wording combinations. And all these SSSs that you see mean static, which really means there's no choices. There's only the original line entry and nothing to go with it. TFAN, there were no choices for that, so that's an SSS. No choices for that, so that's an SSS. And that's how it's matched up here, is it says, well, in that case, all the static wording stays static, but all the variables need to be variable. So watch this. I'm going to paste this on a different sheet, just that top row. Paste. And while the whole thing is highlighted, I'm going to hit code reassembly because I want to put it all into one cell, just one cell. So I highlight the whole row, hit code reassembly, and with a space, I hit OK. And it just did. It stuck the whole thing in one cell where everywhere there was a line break, or I'm sorry, a cell break, it just simply put a space, which for our purposes is pretty good. The final thing I'm going to do is hit replace editor so I can make those changes I like. And what that does is leave me with all the web page coding just the way I need it for this project. So watch this. If I save it and overwrite and hit done, I can check, and now my page looks different. There's variables all throughout it, the way I would expect them to be. Variables in the title, variables in the description tag as soon as we find it. Of course, now that it's all on one line, it's a little harder to read, but you can find it. There's the description tag, and here's the content for it. Okay? And then we have the keywords and the content for that. Okay? It's okay about the spaces, it doesn't matter at all. And then we have the web pages. And if we want at this point, we can go ahead and clean it. We just don't want to change anything in such a way that it breaks. So like right now, when it did the variables, for whatever reason, this is an Excel thing. Everywhere there's a question mark, you might find a space question mark. So it might look a little out of place because there's always this space question mark. So I can fix that really easily. Let me just edit the page, edit, replace, everywhere there's a space question mark with a question mark. Replace all. That way, now when I look at the page, everything looks right. Okay? There's my question mark, and so on. All that's right. And so I can keep changing things. I have, for whatever reason, some stray spaces, so I can fix those as I go. I can just walk through the page and clean it up for any little on-ball issues that do exist. And my page is basically done. See how all the vars are. They're in the title, meta tag description, meta tag keywords, and the body, all in such a way that this is my model page that I can use to create thousands, even millions potentially. If I actually saw a reason to do it, I don't see a reason to create millions. I just see a reason to create thousands of web page variations that are acceptable to Google. Potentially, I could create trillions of web pages, but I don't even see the point. Heck, my hosting server wouldn't even want to see that. You know how many megabytes or gigabytes of data that would be? It would be crazy. All right, so the page is perfect. So my HTML page is done. The only thing we need now is the corresponding CSV file that works with this. I don't need this anymore. If I go back to sheet 1, I don't need this anymore because I already pasted it to the page and I'm through with it. So I'm going to delete that line. If I clicked off of it sometime, I'm just going to highlight the whole row and delete it. Now guess what? What do I have left? My variables and all my statics. Okay? I want to remove all the statics because I'm ready for the CSV file, which just needs to have the vars on them. So I'm going to remove SSSs. It says done. You don't see it until you hit it, but then there you go. Now when I look across, these are all the matching variables. They're all like perfect all the way to the end of the page. Now that's a terrific amount of work done for me. It's too bad these wording combinations aren't readable. We're going to create garbage pages with this, but this is the first part I'm showing you. If you went through all the wording combinations though, then you could make it readable in every case. All the pages would be readable enough. They do not have to be perfect. Google doesn't expect that everyone knows English anyway. It doesn't expect that everyone's good at writing, good at grammar, good at spelling. It doesn't expect any of that. All we know is we have this var sheet perfected now. It's right where we need it to be. Everything is good, so we can hit save as CSV. And it will save this page as a CSV file. So we can close this now. We're done with it. And we have our CSV file. There you go. The only thing I don't understand is why there's a space here. And so I might just come to double check. Yeah, there just shouldn't be. It just happened to add a space, which I'll check. It's a glitch with this latest version, but it's an easy thing to correct. It ends with 1601. Let me make sure of that. Yeah, all that's good. So I just need to get rid of this first column because it's a break. That doesn't need to be there. Everything else is right about it. And so I am actually done with this part. I can actually use the MOWG-Pro right now, and here, let me show you a trick. Whenever you save a CSV file, don't just hit the red X, because then you have to go through a strange process of saying, yes, I want to save, and then it's going to say, what do you want to save it as? And I say, save it as that, and I hit save, and that goes, it already exists. Do you want to replace it? I hit yes, and then it goes, you know it's not compatible, some features. I go, yes, I know it's not compatible. I do want to keep the workbook in this format anyway. Okay? Then it finally saves. There's a quicker way. The quicker way, hit save, yes, close, don't save. You just did. You don't need to save it again. Boom. That's it. So it's just that little cross weave there. Save, yes, close, don't save. And that's it. You're done. This is actually completely done. We don't even need it anymore. We're done. What we needed were those two. We needed the page that works with the variables to plug and chug, and we needed the variables themselves in a database structure that's coherent and makes sense to Google. Or I'm sorry, Google. Makes sense to the MOWG-Pro for being able to build our web pages. It would make sense to Google if these were actually gone through manually so that they come out right. And again, I'll be showing you a shortcut for that entire process so you don't have to think about doing it yourself. Not hardly. And so that's going to alleviate most of that work for you. But let me continue with the functions of the tools. We are ready now because we have our HTML page and our CSV page. We are completely ready for our MOWG-Pro. Okay? And this is basically saying where are those files and what do we want to do with them, including uploading them to the FTP server if we happen to know the path. So that's going to be the next recording. We're going to walk right into the MOWG Professional and how to use it. Okay.